great news this morning to hear that the game will be sold out. To realize that, to have each one of our home games sold out, I think was certainly a hope. But to have it occur, a lot of things have to happen. First off, we have amazing support, and not only has that been evident when we've been at home, but the crowd we had at Eastern Washington on Saturday was amazing. Down at Laramie, Ogden, Portland, everywhere we've been, our crowd has made a difference. And to quantify it in a home game, what that means for us, and ultimately the obstacle it creates for our opponents, is hard to quantify. So we really appreciate it as a football program, and we hope that we're providing an opportunity that people don't want to miss out on. That's the environment we're trying to create. That's the team that we want to have people want to follow. And like Leon alluded to, we hope there's many games beyond this next one to come. But all we can control from a home game perspective is this next one. And coming off the game at Eastern Washington, where we found a way to win in an environment and against a program that we hadn't, as a program, had a lot of success against, was huge. We certainly did a lot of the things well as far as the plan goes, but we put ourselves in some situations that created a challenge. And I'm so proud of the guys for trusting each other, believing in one another, believing in the plan. I think the things that we've continued to talk to them about in creating consistency, creating the same type of team, and continued improvement, our guys have bought into it. And we talked about playing in November, and these games matter so much, obviously, for standings and rankings and all those type of things, but it really matters, are we getting better as a football team? So I think in many ways we did that on Saturday against a really good opponent, and now we got to find a way to do it against Idaho. Idaho, has not had maybe the season that they hope for, but they're a team that we feel like, from a talent perspective and from the ability to come in here and really challenge us, they have all the ingredients. So we're back to work today. I think our guys certainly enjoyed the win, but we're back at it and getting ready for the Vandals. So with that, I'll open up for questions.
Troy and Bryce, player of the week. Can you kind of just describe how you felt about their performances on Saturday?
Yeah, speaking to Troy, I think it's evident he's one of the best players in our conference, and he's continued to show up every Saturday with those type of performances. So whether this is the first time he deserved it or not, I don't know, but he got it, and it's well deserved. And without his play, his leadership, just the way he goes about his day-to-day business, we wouldn't be the team that we are. I think that's fairly easy. I know probably the first thing he'd say, he dropped that touchdown, and that could have made a big difference. But the 15 tackles and just his presence, and how an offense has to think about a Mike linebacker. I think that goes without a lot of conversation, week to week. But I know he's a guy that every other offense has to prepare for. With Bryce, we talk about gaining an edge in special teams, and sometimes those edges are obvious. Sometimes it's just a matter of taking, net punt and net kickoff versus theirs. And while we haven't had the explosive plays in the return game, and we had we had two, both of them been called back, I guess, over the course of the season. Bryce's punt at the end of the game, that gave us an edge in the special teams. His ability to put them inside the 5, you could argue that was the biggest play of the game. And Bryce has continued to get better and better throughout the season. He's been very steady, very consistent, and he's a guy that we feel like can be a difference maker for us, and he certainly made a difference on Saturday.
Have you ever coached a player quite like Troy and impact the game in so many different ways?
Well, I've been primarily an offensive coach, so I've certainly got a couple quarterbacks that could impact the game in a lot of different ways. I think over the course of the time, we've had some really impactful defensive players that have gone on to some great things. But Troy would be right up there. And when you quantify his whole career and all he's done, that puts him on a whole different level. Obviously, I wasn't here for the quarterback and the running back days, but I think what goes a little bit unseen is that he's out there on special teams a whole bunch for us too. And there's a trust factor that obviously a player like him brings to those special teams, but there's a complete buy-in on his part too. I think any opportunity he can go out there and help us win a football game, he wants to. And what I really appreciate about him, he played defense, but he'd been an outside linebacker, and what he was asked to do previously was more cover and blitz, and we've, without him being in spring ball, really asked him to do play a kind of a completely different position. Felt like he was very capable of doing it based on his skill set, but he's taken that and ran with it. And he's a guy, and I've said it before, whether it's in the classroom or on the field, he could get by on just his ability, but he doesn't treat it that way. So he's right up there as far as the complete package of as far as guys that I've been around for sure.
The announcers in the press box after that game were saying you can't keep running outside, talking about Eastern because of Troy and the speed of those guys side to side. But then we were saying, well, you can't really run up the middle because of Chase. I mean, how much does that speak to just the depth and how big you guys are?
Yeah, one of you guys asked about it after the game that day. And it was maybe Coulter actually. What is the kind of similar question? And I said, in Troy's case, when you put all the X's and O's up there, he's probably exactly what you're looking for. So you can do more things with him. You can stress him more in the run game, and then at the same time, it's not all about him. I think that's really what we have going on defense right now. It's about all 11 guys doing their job, play after play, and we weren't perfect on Saturday defensively, and a couple times it was some misfits that maybe scored for 10 plus yards, but they because everyone else is doing their job and running the football, those 10 yards maybe become 20 at the most, and we're not giving up 60, 70 yard types of plays, 40 yard plays for that matter. Defense or offenses have to go the long way against us, and no matter who you have offensively, that's hard. And I think Eastern found that out. We got them off the field a whole bunch more than I think they're used to. Third down, the fact that they were 3 of 13, that speaks to our third down play, but it also spoke to what we were doing on first and second down. We got them behind the chains quite a bit, and that's what we've been able to do all season. So we got a lot of good players, and I think they're playing at a high level. I don't look and say, boy, if this guy can only play a little bit better. I think we look across the board, and beyond those 11 guys, we're playing obviously more than that up front. We've played more linebackers than that. We've been able to play more corners than that. So we've probably rolled with upwards towards 20 guys, and they're all playing up to their capabilities. And I think that's credit to our coaches, but it's a credit to our guys just buying in and continuing to improve as the season has gone along. And I think our confidence defensively just continues to grow. That's where a team like Eastern Washington, with the numbers they had thrown up, did not intimidate our guys. I think our expectation was that we would do what we did, and that's how it played out.
Getting Chase back, is that something that you could notice, I guess?
Yeah, I referred to it after the Idaho State game that the guys that played for him, Byron, Blake Schmidt, played well within their capabilities. As Chase has another level, and it only ends up being maybe a handful of plays each game, but if it's 4 or 5 plays that he's doing something that's, to the common man a little extraordinary, that matters. And he did that in the run game in particular at times. on Saturday was extremely disruptive, and plays that he maybe doesn't even get to tackle, but he creates the running back having to do something he doesn't want to, and then there's a tackle that's right behind it. So yeah, he makes a huge difference, and appreciated his efforts to get healthy and go out there and just play his tail off.
Do you think he has some pro potential?
Well, I think he's got a game that can equate, from a disruptiveness. He's probably a little bit undersized relative to ultimately what they're looking for, but he's very disruptive, plays with a really high motor, is incredibly strong. So, I think his health has been a challenge. But yeah, I think, the way he plays, I think he warrants that look for sure.
How'd you feel like James played in his return?
James played well, and James is a competitor, and he was competing against time the last several weeks since Portland to get back on the field, and it, to get back on the field coming off an injury, it takes that mindset, and so he did all the things between Portland and now to get back on the field, and he went out and played hard, and made a couple tackles. He, to my knowledge, really wasn't tested a whole lot, and it's probably because he was covering his guy. We were getting pressured, he was covering his guy, and I'm trying to think. I think he had a couple open field opportunities tackling wise, but his guys weren't getting targeted a whole lot, and it's a credit to him.
And then Nate coming back, I know he was beating himself up for the touchdown opportunity missed, but how did you feel, and how relieved does he seem to be back on the field?
Yeah, I think it's been a long road for Nate, and it's, you think about his journey here, you transfer and it doesn't immediately turn into what you think it might, and then you're on your way and doing well, and then you get hurt and you don't know how long that's going to keep you out for, and I think optimistically in November was the time. I think he wanted to happen faster, but here we were in November and it happened for him, and he went out there and just like James, Nate's a competitor, he's willing to do whatever he can, and I think once he got out there and got his feet wet, so to speak, it was just like having old Nate out there, in which we didn't get a chance to see what old Nate looked like in the game, so it was good to see.
Coach, obviously early in the week, but what stands out to you about Idaho?
Well, I think they're a talented team, and it hasn't quite gone their way, but they're coming off a big home victory on their senior day. I think offensively, they were without their quarterback for a while, and he's a guy that he's a transfer, has been at UConn, had an opportunity to win a Division II championship in his time at West Florida. So he's I think a talented guy that can throw the football well, and he's in that 65 range as far as his completion percentage. He's got a couple targets that I think have a lot of ability on the outside, and they have a couple backs that they can give it to that are different, but it seems like they want to be able to split up the carries, and sometimes when you have different guys back there, they kind of create that change up a little bit. That's challenging. So I think offensively, they have the ability to do some things against you, and defensively, the defensive coordinator is a guy named Mike Bresky that I worked with back quite a while ago at NDSU, but have faced on some different occasions. Most recently, we played Idaho in 19 at Wyoming, and Coach Bresky's a very good defensive mind, and they have the ability to do a lot. I think linebacker-wise, in particular, their inside linebackers are really good players, led by Trey Walker, and I know they got the ability to get pressure on you, and they just have a talented bunch that a few games have gotten away from them. Hard to explain. They maybe say the same thing, but I think as of late they've been playing pretty good football, and we have to be ready for that. And not, we've preached it all year. We've done the things we need to do, but we really haven't accomplished anything, and that's the same message here. We're 8-1. We've got a lot out in front of us, but we haven't accomplished anything. So, this is the next one in line, and we got to take it for what it's worth, and know that we have a good football team coming in.
And Leon mentioned it, senior day. What has this group of seniors meant to you in your first year of being a head coach?
Yeah, I think you're your first group as a head coach is probably always going to have a very special place in your heart, and in part because those are the guys you probably get to know the quickest and the best, just by the nature of the way, you know, you want to reach out to them as far as learning about the program. Certainly the captains are all part of that bunch, and I spend quite a bit of time with them. And you know that, you know, as a coach, their time, you know, is short. Their time, even though in some cases it's been 6 years, what they have left is short, and they want to make the most out of it. So those are the guys you really want to tap into, but you want to make their season as special as possible. And in particular, transition, you know, I think we knew right away that we had a talented group, and a talented group of seniors, a group of seniors that have been through a lot, had come very close. I could go on and on, but the transition, coaching-wise, couldn't hurt their opportunity to achieve what they wanted to achieve. And I appreciate them first and foremost for buying into the changes and helping us through the changes. And you know, it'll be great to send them off on Saturday, but you know, hopefully we can find a way that this isn't their last home game.
Do you expect Taylor back to this game, or what's his name?
The expectation is that he will be back, yes.
Okay. So what do you think of the guys who did play instead?
Yeah,
Was that a purposeful alternation there?
Yes. You know, so the rest of Cole Sane didn't make the trip. Cole was injured last week, just wasn't ready to make the trip. And you know, Dylan Porter and Joe McElroy were both guys that I think through the course of the season have, you know, been waiting in the wings and preparing for their opportunity. You know, filling gaps in on either side, both left and right, as the seasons kind of went along. And I think going in with the nature of the timing, with both situations, both with Taylor and Cole, felt it was best to play them both, and it was probably, you know, fairest to play them both. I really thought they both competed well, and you hope out of that they both take that, and now they have a newfound confidence. You know, sometimes getting over that hurdle is just playing in meaningful reps. And Dylan had played in a few at a home game. I can't recall which one it was, when Taylor went out and he got thrown there for a little stretch, but Joe really hadn't. So I thought they both performed well, you know, and they didn't have to be anything more than their best version of themselves, and I thought they both did that. And I think it was very meaningful for both of them, but it was important for our team that they went in there and just did their job.
Any other absences this weekend?
Moving forward, not at the current time, no. We got out of that game very healthy. You know, I think Andrew Patterson has continued to make progress slowly but surely, so I hope we have him coming back. I know he's only played one game yet, but I think he's fairly obviously flashed pretty good in that one game, so we've been hopeful to get him back since then, and I think that will happen. But as far as absences, at the, you know, as we see it around
What'd you say to Willie after his penalty?
well, I asked him what he did, and I said, first off, I said, you made a great play. I don't know what you did, what you do, and okay, it's not whatever. I didn't even know what he did, honestly. So he drew a penalty, and we don't need that. So we make the play, and we come back to the huddle. And I said, get back out there and make some more plays. That was about it. So
Have you seen it since? What did you think of that call?
I would suggest it was a misinterpretation of what he was doing, honestly, about that.
Yeah.
Coach, with senior day coming up, as well as, you know, you guys just coming off a big win, how do you get your team to stay focused on the game ahead with the Grizz right around the corner too?
You just talk about Idaho. Keep it all within this week. And we've been able to, I think, do that all season long, and I there's no reason for that mindset to change, or think our guys should not be capable of living within the moment. So yeah, make it about Idaho all week. Whatever's in front of us, whether it's a scheduled game beyond this game or the potential for playoffs, is all stuff that is down the road. and in some ways obviously contingent about how we perform this Saturday. So let's make it about Saturday. Let's pour into our preparation for Idaho and give them, our best effort.
There's been a little bit of buzz about the possibility of college game day coming to Missoula. As someone who coached at NDSU and Fargo hosted game day, just what are your thoughts on the prospect of that, and what's it like for a program being able to host something like that?
Well, I think going back to that opportunity, I don't know if that was the first one, but it kind of became the first one of the regular ones that they chose to go to an FCS school every year. And I know when it happened, I think it was my sister called or something, and she heard it from it. I was like, there's no way. There's no way that's. But anyways, it happened, and it's a credit to, I think, ESPN identifying that there's big games and big venues and great programs beyond the FBS, and they've stuck to it, and they haven't made it out this far yet. So if it happens, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it was a neat opportunity, I know, for our program at NDSU and our players. And I think it's just good for football. It's good for college football. It's good for FCS to be, have the light shine on it. Because everybody's eyes that are a college football fan they're probably on game day, college game day, and so we'll see how it goes. But it's a neat experience.
In your experience, is a trap game a real thing, or is that mostly kind of like a media-driven narrative thing?
Probably media-driven. I don't know. I think if you don't have a mature team and you're coaching ahead, you're trying to get two things accomplished at once. Yeah, I think it can occur. Because if you don't have enough respect for your opponents, whoever they are, as a team, you got some real issues. So I think we understand that in our league, anybody can beat anybody, and why seasons go the directions they go. Sometimes it's good momentum, it's bad momentum, it's youth, it's injuries. You could lay out all the different reasons why. So every team is capable of beating everybody. And I think we've seen that through the league this year. There's been some real upsets. There's been some really close games that no one thought could happen, and I know we've been a part of a couple of those. And you can point to our last home game against Idaho State. I think we prepared well, and we knew they were dangerous, and they gave us fits. So you just got to go about your business, and football allows for that. Football allows you this week to prepare. Coaching sports that have 2 games on a weekend or 3 games through a week, you probably fall into a lot of traps that way, just because your workload has to be different. So I think our team has understood how to go about our business every week, and I would expect this week to be no different.
Coulter, do you have anything?
Yeah, sure. I have a couple for you, Coach. First of all, I find Idaho's presence back in the league fascinating because it's almost like a line in the sand for fans, just to see how long you've been following the Big Sky. I know a lot of fans, maybe of the older demographic, really think of Idaho as a fierce rival this Montana State. So, do you have any perception of that, or what do you think of Idaho being back in the Big Sky Conference?
Well, my perspective is, we played them not too long ago, and that was a real challenge for us that day. And I know they still probably had some semblance of their FBS recruiting and talent, but they were in that 19. They were really good. 19's not too long ago. But then you look at their history, and their history with great quarterback play, with playoff teams, with conference championships. I know Coach Erickson had some real success there, amongst others. And I think their stretch, 70s, 80s, pre the jump in the 90s was very successful. And I think they got to the semifinals a couple times. So they were a real live FCS program, and I know there was good reason why they moved up to FBS. I mean, I think that the schools that move up to FBS are generally those ones that feel like they've accomplished something at a level and move up because they can accomplish more, and they did at the FBS level. I remember watching them in 16 beat Colorado State in the Potato Bowl and finishing off a great season, and they more than anyone from an FBS perspective probably got their hand forced because of their geography, and that was unfortunate for them, because I would guess that wasn't the plan, and it wasn't a forced, well, it wasn't a deal that they wanted to do, but the geography of everything forced their hand. So I guess that's my perspective. It's a program that's had success, and I'm certain will have success moving forward.
You mentioned Coach Bresky. I'm pretty familiar with him because he's been in and out of this region for so long. How would you describe his defense? So I remember back in the early 2010s in Montana, a bunch of fire zone stuff and a bunch of blitzing. Is he still high pressure like he was as last time?
Yeah, and not only did I coach with him at NDSU, but he was at Wyoming before that, had a bunch of success, was with Coach Glenn at Montana. That previous stop was at Northern Colorado, going way back. So no, I think he's a very experienced defensive coordinator. He's probably run the gamut as far as all the different things you can and will do. And he's shown over his career to be very aggressive. And be able to really dial up a good game plan. That last time in 19, he gave us, that was head to head right there. They gave us all we wanted that day, and so he's very innovative and has the way about him that being aggressive is certainly a part of who he is. So look forward to seeing him, facing him, all that stuff, and certainly expect a good plan from him.
And personnel-wise, seems to be that the front seven defensively is one of the talented in the league. And do you see that when you watch them on film?
I think that's fair, yeah. Length, size, athleticism, you name it. And guys that have not only, maybe put up some, they look good physically, I guess, but they've put up some really good numbers over the course of the season. So yeah, like I said before, I don't know why in some games things have gotten off the rails for them, but you see what they're capable of, and I think we understand fully that from a talent perspective, this is a team that we're going to have our hands full, I think, on both sides of the football.
Does that cause them for a higher level of alert, I guess, or urgency, or I guess, the fact that this team maybe isn't a playoff team but don't have good talent, is that a concern of the coach?
For sure, yeah. I mean, I think talent always scares you. I think talent always puts you on alert. And I hope with our players, I think they're mature enough to recognize talent too. And again, if we can make it just about Idaho this week, which that's what we intend on doing, we'll prepare and we got a talented bunch too, and we're going to go after it. But I think we understand fully that no one's going to lay down for us, and we're not so talented that we could just, I guess, win on talent alone. We need to be prepared, and we need to be in the right places. We need to, take that talent and finish blocks and tackle and all the things, run to the football and play with great effort. I mean, that stuff all has to, override, how talented we are.
And last one for you. I know that you guys aren't concerned about the postseason awards and stuff like that right now, but it seems to me that Isaiah Fox has at least made a case to get some sort of a national recognition, I guess, with his performance so far. So, I mean, I guess you hope that the people are noticing just the workload he's carrying for you guys? I
would hope so, yeah. He's continued each week to bring us an advantage, I guess. And in some weeks more than others, some weeks he's had to carry the load a little bit more than others. If there's a better back out there, I haven't seen him at this level or whatever. I mean, he's been there every week, and he's he's playing at a high level. So I hope people out there are recognizing him and recognizing that we're 8-1 for a reason. We got some good players on this team that are really playing at a high level, and beyond Isaiah, I hope there's more individuals to get recognized too. But the best part about it, I think our guys aren't caught up in that at all, and they want to do everything we can as a team first, and understand that the rest will take care of itself.
Thanks, Coach.
And one more for me. The last few weeks there's been a couple of FCS powerhouses who have announced moves to FBS. I'm curious just what your thoughts are on that sort of those announcements, and if at all, and if at all, how it impacts you here at FSU.
Well, I start off by saying on the flip side of that Idaho comment with the geography, I think the teams that are taking that opportunity, been given that opportunity, have all done things on the field, but they're all, from a geography perspective, they're attractive, I think, every bit as much because of that to those conferences. And really, those conferences do dictate those opportunities. So I think, will that change the landscape? A few of the high-profile teams leaving the division, certainly, and that's been occurring for several years. And what does that mean to us? I think you got to go about it from a perspective of all we can do is control what we can control. We're here in Bozeman, Montana, so for the Sun Belt or Conference USA to look at us, that wouldn't make any sense. What happened in Idaho, like I said, that made sense from a location perspective. So, will the landscape continue to change that will provide opportunities in different parts of the country? I don't know. I think we gotta keep pushing our program to be its very best at this level. That's all that we can control. And if opportunities down the road and the landscape changes and we have things to look at, then we have things to look at. But control the things we control while we're in the situation we're in, and that's what we're trying to do.